Yay!
Very good.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Excellent.
Hello.
Hello.
And hello and welcome, everybody.
And that was Joe playing,
Hello.
by the way.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
indeed me. How are we all doing today?
Good.
It's a delightful
everyone?
afternoon.
Yep. Very nice day over here.
Yeah.
Clearwater, Buffalo.
But it's
Yeah.
raining like crazy
Cool,
in
cool.
Clearwater, Brazil.
Oh.
Clearwater, Hungary was quite nice, quite clear.
Mm.
And I actually saw water today. So put those
Very
two
nice.
together.
Nice.
Name checks
Wait,
out.
is it not? Is it not?
I went
Usual
down.
food
I went down
activity?
to. I went down to the south part of the Duna River, or Danube. So I went down about an hour
Cool.
south. Yeah, to a different village I've never been before, and it was
Oh,
clear,
cool.
and the water was also clear. So,
Very nice.
Nice.
and it was a
Very
nice
nice. Cool.
22 degrees Celsius, or maybe 70 something Fahrenheit. So good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
much
about
the same here.
Clearwater?
Highs of 22.
Yeah, Clearwater, UK.
Yeah, highs of 22. One forecast said 23, another said 22, but yeah, around about there. So whatever that is in Fahrenheit, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Someone
have to
Google it.
convert.
Yeah.
It's like the low 70s.
Fahrenheit, I don't know. Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
How's
living
Clearwater, Colorado, with little baby Davy hanging
Hey.
from the microphone?
There he is. There's little baby Davy. Poopy pants. It's it's okay. It's definitely become autumn. So autumn or fall as we call it here. So it's been colder. Yesterday was chilly. I think maybe 65 Celsius. No, 65 Fahrenheit was our high. Yeah,
At
I don't know.
65 Celsius, you'd be dead.
It would be different. And yeah, it's chilly today, but I have a doggy laying out in the grass, just kind of tanning. So, it's nice enough for that. So that's all that matters.
I feel
what about
bad for the
Clearwater?
animals when it's like the middle of winter and they have to go outside for a minute.
Oh, I can imagine that.
Right,
Wow.
because they rarely put their boots on before they
I
go out.
know.
Yeah.
And how is that sun in Clearwater, Buffalo? I see the sun shining on Clearwater, Chad, and I see little
Oh,
baby
yeah.
Davies riding Clearwater, Chad.
Well, I'll take him down. I don't know if that's good.
Oh,
but
that
you
was-
can't see him down here though. There. Oh, I guess you could.
You can leave him there. It was just funny.
He was
It should
too
be
tall.
the opposite. Clearwater
Yep.
Chad should be riding little baby Davy.
That's true. He was too tall too. It wasn't realistic. But yeah, it's really sunny over here. This is with the shades closed. It's that sunny.
Is that really the sun? The brightness?
Yeah. See if I open the window, it's even more. Or,
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Yeah. Very nice.
Nice.
The light on my camera is most definitely not the sun. It's almost dark here now, and yeah, this is a special.
Yeah.
So
Mitch-esque
what time
light.
is it? What time is it where you guys are now?
6 p.m.
Okay.
And I'm an hour ahead of Joe, so
So you're
7:10
7,
p.m.
10.
Yeah.
2:10 here. Which means 1:10 Clearwater time.
And 11:10 Clearwater,
Okay.
Denver time. Yep.
11
Oh.
11.
So still
All over
morning on
now.
my side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can just say boa tarde.
What was that?
So that we can just say boa tarde. Only just.
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde, right?
Yeah, right?
And to
Yeah.
Karina in the chat also.
Ah, Karine, boa tarde.
So I'm just fighting off the end of like a cold today, so I might be a bit croaky more than usual, but I'm over the worst of it. So
Hi, back.
No worries. Hi, Beck.
Hello.
We're back.
hello.
So, guys, today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are, we have something a little bit different. And because in the past episodes, like most of our shows, it's been Mark's show. I mean, it's everybody's show, but it's Mark's show. Mark is our, in-house professor who puts up like wonderful PowerPoints. Oh, look who's in the house! I'm sorry, I'll go back.
Gary.
Oh,
It
Hey,
is.
Jack.
Jackson.
It is. Gary's an hour
That's
behind
awesome.
us, or behind me. So yeah, hey, Jackson.
Yay, Clearwater, Portland.
Wow.
Welcome, Jackson. Good to
Welcome,
see you.
yeah.
Hey, Freezinu.
Dave Rizino.
Hey, Freezino.
Hi, everybody.
Still waiting,
Okay, so
Freezino. Come on.
What is it?
I'm still waiting, Freezino. Come on, you got to Freezino sometime. This
You got a
project's gonna be
Freezinu.
over.
Yeah, it's a project.
It's a project,
Yeah.
right?
It's a project.
I know, but
Yeah.
the projects
Hey,
have to
Renee.
end sometime.
Well,
Hey,
when they
Renee.
freeze you. Anyway, so as I was saying, Mark has been putting out some amazing PowerPoints with all kinds of different nerdy topics, such as religious studies and different languages. Well, he only did one language now, but there will be more languages in the future. And Star Trek. And today we're gonna have a different kind of nerdiness, as you saw in the thumbnail and the title, which is about instruments. And we have our very own luthier. I want to say, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yep, Luthia.
String instrument maker. Is that what it is?
Yep.
All right. So whenever you're ready, Joe, if you want to introduce, I don't know if you want to say something, if anybody else wants to say something, if you want me to put up the slides, just let me know.
Yeah, I guess let's begin. Let's begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Joe.
Ta-da!
Let me move Joe back up.
As
Let me
you
just
can
move
see, I put on a bit of weight there. So I
look
thought I'd
different,
start. Yeah, I know, right? So I thought I'd start by introducing the structure of an oud, because I'm going to be mentioning lots of these parts of the instrument today. Yeah, I thought that was a good place to start.
So I'm sorry, the oud is the instrument you were playing in the opening, right?
Yes, in the intro, that was an oud I was playing. Yeah, and that was I was playing a transcription of Greensleeves, which I transcribed it for oud because it obviously wasn't written for oud; it was for lute. Now, particularly, can you see my cursor at all?
Yes.
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 Yeah, excellent. Okay, good. So that's going to be helpful. Okay, so particularly this part, the peg box, is I'm going to mention, and these pieces of wood which make up the body or belly, or in German it's always belly, Bauch, but like body, or this part here is made up of ribs. So these are the strips that make up the body of the instrument. Anyway. So we start off our journey today in ancient Central Asia. Now, the exact origin of these instruments is not entirely certain, and there's theories that there's iconography from Mesopotamia or ancient India or things like that, which may also show this instrument called the barbat, the ancient barbat. As you can see here, there's two here from place called Gandhara. Now, Gandhara was a civilization in what is today parts of Pakistan and Afghanistan. The place Gandhara is now called Kandahar in Afghanistan. And this was the civilization, by the way, which built the giant Buddha statues in Afghanistan, which were then dynamited by the Taliban in the 90s. They'd survived for centuries before that. You can also see some iconography here. These are worked metal bowls from ancient Persia, what is obviously now Iran. Gandhara was eventually conquered by the Persian Empire, and then afterwards by Alexander the Great. Now, to the east, as the barbat traveled east, it came first to China and later Korea and Japan, where it became, so in China it became the pipa, in Korea, and the biwa in Japan. These are all very closely related instruments. Now, all of these instruments were still carved from solid wood, as was the barbat in the first slide. These were all carved from solid wood, and so not made from ribs, as I was talking about. So the pipa was historically played in the same playing position, as you can see here, as the barbat, but later changed to a more upright position. However, the Nanyan pipa, which is played in Fujian province in the south of China, is still played in this manner, in this kind of manner. So yeah, in China, the pipa, and in Japan, the biwa are still played today, but the Korean bipa has fallen out of use. So the barbat later became the early oud, or the medieval oud, and it was during this time that it started to be built from ribs rather than carved from solid wood. The medieval oud became widespread through the Arabic Muslim Empire's invasions and conquests and trade networks. It spread as far west as Morocco and as far east as Malaysia. There was trade among the Indian Ocean, particularly from what is today Yemen, which then spread it to Malaysia and Indonesia as well, where it's still played today and it's called gambus, but it's the same instrument, the oud. Oud is an Arabic word, by the way, which means, so this al-aud, which means the wood, and this refers to the wooden soundboard of the instrument, and possibly also the fact it's constructed from ribs now rather than being carved from solid wood. So in North Africa, 2 oud variants with 4 pairs of strings are still played today. One called the oud arbi, which you can see here and here, and the other called the quitra. So they both have 4 courses, or 4 pairs of strings. Courses means a pair of strings. We'll come back to that later. And of course, the one of the places they invaded was the Iberian Peninsula, what is today Spain and Portugal, with this area here. And under the Moorish rule, the Muslim rule, this area was called Al-Andalus, which is where the modern part of Spain called Andalusia, the name comes from. And as the oud came into Europe through the Moorish invasion of Iberia, as I said, modern-day Spain and Portugal, the Arabic word al-aud became the Spanish word laud, Portuguese alaude, French lute, German laute, and eventually English lute. You can see here at the top, these are examples of medieval lutes. The medieval lute was originally quite similar to the medieval oud, but over the centuries it began to change and diverge from it. By the end of the medieval period, the lute always had frets, whereas the oud doesn't have frets, of course. And by the Renaissance, so these are Renaissance lutes here in the middle. By the Renaissance, they'd stopped using plectrums to play the lute, and instead started playing with fingers. And this was in order to play different styles of music that were polyphonic. So instead of just having one line, like in medieval music. During the Renaissance also, the body became more slender. And as centuries went on, more and more pairs of strings or courses were added. So there's 4 or 5 pairs of strings or courses during the medieval period, between 6 and 10 during the Renaissance, and then for Baroque lutes, which you can see here at the bottom, just a huge amount of strings, sometimes as many as 29. I think that's the kind of upper end of it. So the story of the European lute, which you can see here, is a massive topic in itself, which really deserves its own video. But suffice to say here that lutes tend to be broadly categorized, as I said, into 3 here, 3 types: medieval lutes, Renaissance lutes, and Baroque lutes. Now, after the Reconquista in Spain, the lute fell out of popularity because it was considered an Arab instrument, because of the oud, whereas the rest of Europe had kind of forgotten that link. And so they in turn invented something called a vihuelo de mano, which is like a guitar-shaped lute, effectively. And this influenced the development of the later guitar. And again, this is a whole other story in itself, which probably deserves its own video, but suffice to say that's, yeah. After about 1800, the lute fell out of use in Europe, and its role was taken by the guitar or keyboard instruments such as the harpsichord and later the piano. So during the development of the medieval oud to the modern time oud, during the development of the oud, extra strings were added, but never more than 6 courses for 11 or 12 strings in total, unlike the many more which were added to European lutes. In the Ottoman Empire, a variant of the oud developed which is slightly smaller. It's this one here, which is slightly smaller and tuned a whole tone higher than standard oud tuning. So standard oud tuning would be in C, and this is in D. This is known today as the Turkish oud, although as well as Turkey, it's played in other areas which were under Ottoman control, particularly Greece and Armenia also play the Turkish oud. Another variant of the oud which developed in the Ottoman Empire is the lavta, which you can see here. In Greece, this is also known as the politico lauto. This was developed in Constantinople, as it's now known as Istanbul. It's Constantinople at the time. So this has 7 strings in 4 courses and has a much smaller body, a longer neck, and frets arranged to Turkish quarter tones. A smaller instrument called the kobza is called the kobza in Romanian and the koboz in Hungarian, developed from the Turkish oud, and in those 2 countries, and it's still played today, much like the Turkish oud is still played today in the lavta. And you can see here, so this is a Romanian kobza, and this is a Hungarian koboz, and you can see someone playing one there. Okay, so there are many styles and varieties of oud played today, and this is just a brief outline. This is from the Nahat family, which were a famous family of oud makers in Syria. And this design has been much copied and by various makers because it's such a popular kind of iconic design. Egyptian ouds here often have kind of deeper bodies, and they have this particularly long pear shape as well. In Iraq during the 20th century, a new style of oud was developed which has a floating bridge instead of the usual fixed bridge glued to the soundboard. So usually an oud would have, as you see here, the bridge that the strings connect to is glued to the soundboard. But this one is what's called a floating bridge, which is like what you have on a mandolin or other instruments, where it's kept in place by the string tension. And so it can be moved. It's kept in place just by the string tension. And this gives a slightly different sound. So this type of Iraqi oud is also called the oud Bashiri, as it was made particularly famous by famous Iraqi oud player Munir Bashir. So we'll end our story today back where we started. The oud went out of use in Iran, but it was reintroduced during the 19th and 20th centuries, mainly from these Arabic oud styles. And during that time, since the 19th and 20th centuries, a few variations have evolved in Iran. Here's a particular slender-bodied style made by Mohammed Taghi Arafati. And here's a more standard shape by Yaha Oud. You can also see here there's an instrument which is developed in Iran, which is kind of a reference to the ancient barbat, which I started talking about. But this instrument is strung and played like a modern oud. So the body shape is kind of made to mimic that, but it's basically a type of oud. And the most famous player of the barbat today is probably Hossein Borozinia. And so that brings us to the end. And thank you for coming to my nerd talk.
Very good.
My voice is dying, but thank you for coming to my nerd talk.
I love the
Thank you,
True
Joe.
Nerd Talk.
That was great.
Tell
Wow.
us more, though. I mean, I have all kinds of questions.
Great, let's take questions, and let's take questions from the comments as well.
Yes, please, guys, send us questions and comments. I'm going to let everybody else speak first. I've been talking too much.
I've been talking too much, so hit me with some questions.
I was disappointed to hear that the Taliban acted badly. I don't think I like them.
I know, it's so out of character for them, right?
Yeah,
That's
no,
pretty-
that is a shame that they did that.
Yeah.
Jesus, they don't even respect ancient history.
Yeah, it's cultural vandalism, I think. It's fair to say.
Mhm.
I'm curious about one thing. So I've been playing a lot of string instruments and lots of instruments since I was younger. I have played a 6-string and a 12-string guitar. How the heck do you play 29-string anything?
Mm.
Like how do you do that? How do you? Because obviously, like I understand the idea of strumming and whatever, but like how does one literally play a 29-string instrument? Like that just seems out of my own headspace. So I'm just curious if you know anything about that.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know how practical it was. The kind of, I guess the Baroque aesthetic was to make things as ornate and everything as possible. And so there's probably an element of that, of just taking it to that extreme. But generally how it would be played is the first 6 courses, that's pairs of strings, would be played in the same manner as you would play a 12-string guitar, but obviously different playing style, different playing technique. And then the courses below that would be played like a harp guitar. So they'd be played kind of open as accompaniment. So, yeah.
Okay.
There we go, like a harp.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That
Yeah.
that makes sense. So it's like it's two instruments in one, essentially, kind of, right?
Yeah. And there's
Essentially.
an instrument called a theorbo or an arch lute, which is even more that kind of idea where the extra strings don't even go over the fingerboard; they go to an extension on the end of the peg box.
Mhm.
There.
I
Wow.
don't understand that. But
That's really cool.
yeah, so the pairs of strings, like how do you
Mhm.
play? I mean, I've only ever played very little, but only the violin and the guitar. So I understand like strings that have, actual notes. How do you play pairs of strings?
Here's one I made earlier. So,
Like 20 minutes
You
ago,
see
she made
here-
that.
oh yeah, just like that.
Mhm.
So this is 6 pairs of strings, 6 courses of strings. Basically, each is played like one. So, right? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like, I don't know if this is like too weird of a question, but why are they pairs? Like, what?
It gives a different sound, really, is the reason.
That's what I'm. But you never play separately. You never like have any kind of technique
No.
that you play one or the other. You always play both of
No.
them. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So 29 is not so scary. 29 is
It's-
actually
Well, yeah, so 29 would be in pairs, but yeah, it's still...
14.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a lot, but
And then one floating string.
the what?
Right, 14 pairs and then just one extra.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because it's 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A question there from Peace and Love. And how do you get or keep a 29-string instrument in tune?
Yeah.
So there is a saying about lute players that they spend half their life tuning and the other half playing out of tune.
Mhm.
There is a lot of Renaissance and Baroque paintings of people tuning. Make of that what you will, but it's great research material for me. So that
to
reminds
see,
me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
I
was
could
just
just see
gonna
some
say
poor
that,
schmo in a park.
Pardon?
No, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the painting, which is featured in the thumbnail for this episode. I'm glad it was useful, and it was useful to me as a research thing because it's one of the few paintings which show the actual back of a medieval lute. That's quite rare. Usually, you just see the front because perspective hadn't been invented and all sorts of other things.
Let me
Um,
see if I can go back there.
the,
I can't control the presentation.
Oh, okay. So it will be on this picture here,
There.
which is not for the
Okay.
thumbnail. as you can see, most paintings don't show the back of the instrument. It's not something they thought of representing.
Interesting.
Where was I? So I got told off for taking that picture because I was leaning over the barrier a bit too much, trying to get really close to get a really good picture of that because I'm a massive nerd. And so I'm glad it was worth it. And it's
Where was that taken?
That's the National Gallery in London. The
Okay.
Portrait Gallery, National Portrait Gallery in London.
Okay.
So just off Trafalgar Square.
Cool.
One of my many
Oh,
research
wow.
visits. So
Cool. Frisian Project has a question. Anybody wants to read that?
I don't
Joe,
think I'm
was it
qualified to answer that one.
Was it an instrument from the Galactic Confederacy for races with people that had 8 fingers and 8 fingers and a thumb?
I think this is a question for the Star Trek nerds, not me.
Or an OT.
Or an OT?
Yeah.
Fair assumption, though, Freezina. Fair assumption.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question on my channel from Sophia. Max mir doch egal.
Yeah, we
Great
don't
name.
see the questions from your channel here. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's okay. So the question is, so it's a statement, more than a question. I'm going to translate this for you. Die Laute muss laut sein, right? It's German, which means that the lute must be loud. And actually, no, the lute is quite a quiet, delicate instrument. The oud is loud, but the lute is not because it's built in a very different way. The soundboard is much thinner and it's much more delicate. So I get it was a joke or a pun on the word lauter, but yeah, no.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hey, Marilyn.
Hi,
Hey,
Marilyn.
Marilyn. Hey,
Hey,
Marilyn.
Marilyn.
Okay, so that sounds like loud in German. And
Yeah,
hi,
so the
Sophia.
German word for lute is lauter, and the German word for loud is laut. So,
Okay.
right,
That's
there's
funny.
the pun.
Sophia likes her
Lauter
puns.
muss laut sein.
All right. So why is it that, like you said, back in the day they were carved, and now you have the rib? What do they call the ribs?
Mm.
Why are they made like that? Is there a difference in, like, is it cheaper, easier? Does it sound different?
Well, you'll get a different sound, but also it wastes a lot less wood. Because if you think about
Okay.
you're carving out, also that's really hard work. Like I don't have the strength to carve instruments, but I built them from ribs, right? So, like I say, those instruments from East Asia, the pipa and things like that, the biwa, they're still carved from solid wood, and it gives a different sound. But the rib construction was obviously somebody's massive kind of mind-blown moment at some point in the medieval period. Why? I guess it uses less wood. It's more. It's easier. It's the more. I guess arguably it's the more nerdy approach because there's so much geometry involved that someone had to figure that out. That was a thing you could do. So yeah, I guess also this fits in with the. So while Europe was going through the Dark Ages in the early medieval period, the Arabic world was exploring lots of the kind of scientific things, which Europe had kind of abandoned since the fall of the Roman Empire. And one of those things was maths and geometry, and so it kind of fits in with that somebody figured that out. But yeah,
Makes
Yeah.
sense. But the sound is different also. I mean, have you ever
the sound's
played
different.
have you ever played
Huh?
have you ever played one of the old ones? The
Yeah, I've played
Cool.
a pipa before.
yeah.
It's it's hard to put into words. It's just a different sound, really.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I was just curious.
yeah, fair enough.
What else we got out there?
I'm not sure if I did a great job of explaining it or nobody understood a word of what I was saying, and that's why there's no questions. One or the other.
I think it's just because it's from my experience, my personal experience, not something that I'm exposed to. So there's a lot of new information and just like very interesting. Somebody said it's, I think it was Renee earlier said it's fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating, but it's also like I don't have a lot of questions. I said I have a lot of questions. Yeah, I have like these little curiosities, but because
fair enough.
like I only first heard about the oud because of you, and then you said when it comes from alaúd, and then it's like, oh yeah, it sounds like just like Portuguese alaúd, and then said no, alaúd is the lute, it's a different instrument. I'm like, oh, it's all the same to me because I don't know any of them. You know what I mean? Like
It's a very
nice.
closely related word, so yeah.
Yeah,
It was
and I like it
fascinating
that
how
it's made
deep
of
the
wood,
history.
right? I'm sorry, Chad.
Oh, sorry, I just said it is fascinating how deep the history goes. Every country kind of takes its own twist on it, just like the languages that Mark, did. How
Yeah.
people interpret. Yeah.
I feel
I'm
like I don't have a
curious,
lot to. I'm sorry.
What was
go
that,
ahead.
Mark?
No, I'm just curious. Tuning is something that I'm kind of curious about too, because again, going back to modern standard guitars, standard tuning is an E. First, the first string, sixth string is always an E. And then there are obviously tons of alternative tunings that you can find, and so forth. So traditionally speaking, what would have, like, how would they have been able to find, for example, the notes of the strings, if you know how, without anything like without electronic tuning? And then also, how did, like, what key were these instruments usually tuned to if they had a standard kind of tuning?
So there was a tradition with the lute that you would basically tune the highest string as high as it would go before breaking. And so that would then be the basis of all the other strings would then be tuned relative to that. Another point of reference, obviously, without modern electronic tuners, people still had tuning forks and,
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say that.
Oh, yeah.
When
I
I
was gonna
was
say Mark is too sophisticated, too technological. He's talking about electronic tuning. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, tuning forks, and obviously if you're playing in a band or a group, or if you want to go full Renaissance, playing in a consort, then you would tune to the other instruments to make sure that everyone was in tune with each other. And obviously, what we now think of Western tuning wasn't really invented until the Renaissance. So there's a kind of, like medieval tuning was similar but different. And obviously tuning in different parts of the world is not
Mark.
going to be the same. So
you might have to go back to that answer later because I think we lost Mark.
I think he froze up.
Yeah,
I
no
think
problem.
He'll be hopping back.
Yeah.
Well, the other question was how an oud is tuned, isn't it? Or a lute?
Yeah.
One or the other.
There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes.
Hi,
Mark.
I missed the whole part where you explained my question. I'm so sorry.
There's a room reference for you. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, hi.
Basically, you tune the first chord. No, what is that called? String.
Okay, so
Sorry, corda in Portuguese. It's the same. It's the same word as
corda.
Corda, and chord is acorde. Anyway, so you tune the first string as high as you can go before the string breaks, and then you tune the rest relative to that one. And also,
it's
we're making fun of you because you said electronic tuning, and we're like, "What are you talking about electronic? That's too modern, Like, talk about."
Of course,
yeah,
no,
so they have tuning
yeah.
forks and things like
tuning
that.
forks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I
And
learned.
usually, was there a particular key though? Like, again, standard guitar is usually an E. Was there a particular key that some of these instruments were tuned to, like an E or a D or so forth?
So, if you give me a moment.
No worries. Again, sorry for cutting off exactly in the worst time.
That's cool. So basically, the tuning of the lute changed a lot throughout the centuries because there's 3 different types, right? But so in the medieval period, it was tuned generally in like a mixture of fourths, mainly fourths, with the occasional fifth or whole tone in there to get an octave. During the Renaissance, the tuning became more fixed. So, for instance, the standard 6-course Renaissance lute if you were to tune in G, whereas most of mine are designed to be tuned in G, then starting from the top string, the single course, which is chanterelle, you would have G and then D, A, F, C, and then G.
Oh, wow.
And this,
okay.
so this is similar to a guitar, but the minor
Yeah.
third is one string over, right? Effectively,
Mhm.
and this tuning, or rather these intervals. So these intervals were transcribed to whatever the top string would be in, effectively. So you'd have like a G lute or an A lute or a D lute or a C lute, right? And it would just mean that it would be from that top string. And
It's
this,
more the relative pitch that was important.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so throughout the Renaissance, as they kept adding strings in the bass, they would usually be done in like a whole tone or something down. But the top six always stayed the same. And this is right through until the middle of the Baroque period, where they switched to what's called a D minor tuning, which is where the whole thing's tuned in D minor.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually not too dissimilar from the D major tuning of the viola caipira, as it happens. And
You have one?
I don't have viola caipira. And
Viola
an
caipira
oud,
is a Brazilian instrument. Just
sim.
for those who
And an oud, modern Arabic tuning for oud is from the top C, G, D, A, G, and then C. And sometimes
Wow.
the G can be tuned down to F, depending on what you're playing. So this is why I say that the oud is usually in C tuning, whereas the Turkish oud is a whole tone higher in D. Yeah, sorry, I probably should have explained that a bit more in the thing. But
I have a follow-up question when you're done with that one. Just
go for it.
I just have to remember it now. It's
Well, I'm just briefly
Go
again.
ahead.
When you say tuned in C, it's obviously not the low C from a guitar. It would be another octave higher. So it would be like a, what do they call it? C major, whatever it is, or C minor. Like,
I see.
because I know when you tune down a guitar, you can tune it all the way down to C, and that's 2 whole steps. But I'm assuming that it's a higher instrument, so you're tuning it higher, right? So you're tuning it another whole octave or something like that. I can't remember the terms now, but I guess you're getting a higher sound than a regular guitar would be, basically, essentially, right?
No, the oud is actually lower pitched than the guitar.
Okay.
So the top
wow.
the top course, the top pair of strings is in middle C. So that is 2 tones below the top E on a guitar.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is that low? Wow.
The lute was pitched higher. So the G on the top, the G on the top of the lutes, for instance, that I tend to build most, was, let me see, yeah, the equivalent of the 3rd fret on top of a guitar. So
Okay. That is very interesting. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool.
no problem.
And I had a question related to when you talked about. I said I gotta remember it because I don't remember the terms. When you talked about, what was it? Western tuning.
Yep.
Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't know if I'm totally off here, but is that related to the whole? How many hertz are there in the A or the no?
So that kind of came later from a scientific perspective.
Okay, so that's something else.
When
altogether.
when I say Western tuning, I mean as in like Western chromatic tuning. Like
Okay.
we would have,
Okay.
In English we say C, D, E, F, G, right, etc.
Yeah. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si.
Yeah, solfege, and so that is what I refer to as Western tuning, right? But
Okay.
but like for instance, I've been learning a lot of Iranian music on the oud. You'd never guess that from my thing, would you? And so they, for instance, have quarter tones in between the sharps and flats. and the same in Arabic music has different quarter tones. Turkish music has different quarter tones again, and so it's all
I've
But
heard
when
that
I-
in your music. I understand that it's something different, but I just don't know enough
Yeah.
about it.
That's fair. Why would you? Yeah.
So the whole 440, I don't know how many hertz is something
okay.
that was like a standard thing that that came for later, so that they could standardize what the sound
Yes.
of.
Yeah, so A equals 440 became standardized later on. During the Baroque period, A equals 432 was common.
432, that's what it was. Okay.
And then before that, it could be whatever, really. It's, there wasn't any standardization, so.
Because I know there's this debate, like we were talking earlier, and this is something that I've seen also, and we were talking earlier about two-set violin. And this is something that I've seen them discuss about like older period music from before this standard. So how do you play it? So there's like this, it's similar to what you were saying about when you're playing in a group, you having to tune to each other, right? So I think sometimes you have to make a decision. I imagine, like, are you going to tune to our current A or 440? I think that's the current one, right? Or are we going to tune to the whatever it was back when this piece was written,
Yep, and a lot of groups will make a decision about that, and a lot of early music groups will generally decide to play in A440 because that's what their instruments are designed for nowadays. But some play in a different, A equals 432 is common for them, and so there's a decision that has to be made, but the decision is made as a group because obviously you can't have a mixture, otherwise it's not going to work. I have a question here from Free Xenu Project of Farsec, no less. Question, are the strings varying size per group? That must be a pain to tune. Per group, do you mean per instrument or per size of instrument as per the lutes? Or do you mean per pitch on the same instrument? Because if it's the last one, then of course they have to be to get that. Max Midok-Gal has a good point here. It's essentially the technique used for shipbuilding. Yes. So the way that a lute body or an oud body is constructed over a mold actually, has quite a lot in common with shipbuilding. There are obviously differences. Please don't put my ouds in water, but yeah.
It will not float.
Frizino, I'm following your channel now, Joe, because I can't see the comments from your channel here on StreamYard.
That's fine. I have them here on my laptop.
Okay, so I'm looking at them here now. So Frizino also, I think the follow-up to the previous question was the one with 20 strings, but I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, a Baroque lute. Okay, a Baroque lute. So yes, they would have to be different sizes to get different pitches. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And Frizino has another question here. He says, Joe, as I remember it, well, when you detune a guitar, does that mean the top string is tuned to D?
Depends on your terminology, but yes, sometimes.
So when you say like, oh, this is a detuned instrument or whatever it is, if it's a string instrument, does that refer to the top string?
Yeah, usually, it depends, but usually.
What's another possibility?
It can refer to sometimes the top or the bottom. So in guitar terminology, in lute terminology, it would always be the top one. So.
Okay, but but the regular 6-string guitar is gonna be the same.
Yep, and a 6-course lute would be the same as well, but if it's a non-standard tuning, then it wouldn't necessarily be. So, yeah.
There's a lot of really. I was just gonna say there's a lot of on a 6-string electric. There's a lot of really cool, and acoustic. There's a lot of amazing tunings you can do, just going from it's called like drop D, half a step down, drop C sharp, and then there's step and a half, and there's all this kind of cool stuff that a lot of bands, rock bands, punk bands, grunge bands, and whatever have been kind of innovating over the past, whatever years. And a lot of them are really fun. I only played for the first whatever years in standard tuning because that's what everybody does. And then I always hear from someone that's like, oh, they play half a step down, or they play a full step down, or they play this, or they play that, and it's always quite fun to experiment. Really kind of cool.
It's interesting because it makes you think about how everything has to be decided, has to be agreed upon. Even like the meaning of words that we speak, like and the tuning of an instrument, and then it can play around with that, and things change throughout history. So yeah, very interesting.
I find that
Mark, you were
bands.
saying about.
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, go on.
I'm just going to say, I find with bands that a lot of the kind of the experimental strings often are because that's how somebody taught themselves when they were sitting in their basement playing, and then they come and they join a band, and they what am I trying to say? They bring that to the sound, a little bit different, but they also learn how to kind of customize their playing to often play more standard with a different string, with a different string setup. So but it often tends to be somebody was sitting in their basement and they kind of taught themselves, and instead of starting with the D, maybe they did start with the C sharp or something to that effect. And so
whatever they could,
whatever they could, whatever made them play better, and then 20 years later they're standing in front of an audience with a whole different setup, but they've customized that to play with everybody else. So
take the Beatles as an example. The Beatles, as far as I know, never learned how to read music. They never had traditional, like formal training, but they were figuring things out and experimenting.
And that pesky Paul played a left-handed bass.
Yeah.
And they wrote Blackbird. Fun fact. Blackbird?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Blackbird.
Yeah.
There's a story that they composed Blackbird. I think it was Blackbird. I'm not sure now. Based on they were trying to imitate. They were listening to a lot of Bach, and they were trying to imitate something like the fugue style or something. And then they were trying to play that at a party for somebody, and they made a mistake because they got it wrong playing by ear, and then that became something else that became eventually, I think, Blackbird, which is so mistakes can be good.
Yeah, I was going to say one band that plays around a lot is Rage Against the Machine. They use all different kinds of hertz. They will do all crazy kind of stuff. Like not just at 440. That's I don't even think they play on 440 anymore. They just move around the hertz on their tuners to all different types of stuff. And then there's all different kinds of tunings that they do that are just well beyond standard. I forget what they're called now, of course. I forget the word. But it's not just okay, you're in E and then you drop down half a step, a full step, or whatever. They tune, I think like Joe was kind of saying on some of the instruments how many of the strings will be in the same kind of note. They do that kind of stuff, and I forget the term for it anyway. But they're a band with experiments on sounds quite a bit, especially with tuning and different levels of hertz. So it's pretty interesting and unique.
Just wanted to say bye, Frizino.
Bye, Frizino.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
We have We have one more comment here from Frizino from Joe's channel. Go ahead, Joe.
I just wanted to pick up on two things that Mark said. Firstly, Rage Against the Machine. The lead singer from Rage Against the Machine is now making traditional Mexican son jarocho music, which is amazing, and you should check it out because I love that stuff.
Send us a link.
If you've not heard of son jarocho, look it up. It's amazing. And the other thing that Mark said was about electric instruments. Have you ever seen an electric oud, and would you like to?
I would. I see.
I
I
would
see.
like
Is that
to.
what
I
you
Okay.
don't think
posted
I've
there?
ever seen one.
Yeah, so if you do the share the thing again, then I'll
I
show you
will.
some
I just-
electric ouds.
I will. I just wanted to say that there's a comment here from your channel that I can't star or do anything with it. So I don't know if you want to
Okay.
take that now or later. From
Um,
Rock and Roller 912.
Rock and Roll 912 says, I have a friend who plays 6-string guitar in standard tuning with a capo covering only the 3 bass strings, which gives a drone effect. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
that
just
the
wanted
one?
to say that there's, yeah. I just wanted to say because I, if this were on StreamYard, I would have started, but I would have started, but just wanted to acknowledge that just for comment.
I know,
There
but
you
I
go.
have the fancy OBS stuff, so
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I know.
Cool.
I know.
yeah. So there's an electric oud.
Wow.
Wow.
There is another electric oud.
Whoa, that is so cool.
Right.
Another one.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
So yeah, you
That
get the
looks
idea.
like that. Going back to Star Trek,
Go
that
back to
actually
Star
looks
Trek.
like this. Sorry.
Yeah.
The one time, do you remember that episode of the original series? The one time that Spock was playing his kind of instrument thing. Do you guys remember that? He's in the break room with everyone, and they're having like a hoedown with all the hippies, and he's
Right.
playing this like instrument. It kind of looks a little bit like it,
I'm
actually.
gonna have to look
Probably
that up
based
too.
on it.
Wow.
Is that the one Uhura was singing, or was that a different one?
That's the one. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
She's yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I see.
Had to bring it back to Star Trek because it just reminded me of it anyway.
It so does though. Yeah.
Is that a Vulcan harp? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
Wow.
Let me give visuals here for the people.
Yeah, I think Aurора's there, but I think because there's another one. Maybe it's the different episode where the hippies come aboard. But yeah, there we go.
Is that the one?
Yeah, okay. It doesn't look exactly like it, but it's sort of reminded me a tiny bit of it anyway. But
Mhm.
that is the one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Yeah,
All right.
that's cool.
I have another question. Now that I changed tabs here, I saw that I had looked something up. You talked about a floating bridge. So
Yes.
like that would be like, is that a bridge that's held together only by the tension of the
The tension of the strings, yeah.
strings? So
Let me
when
see
you-
if I
when you-
have an example here. Yeah, here we go. So this is a mandolin.
okay,
This part here is the bridge,
the bridge, yeah.
and if it moves,
Okay.
and this is only held in place by the string tension, whereas on a standard oud, it would be glued in place,
Uh-huh.
so it's fixed permanently. Whereas, yeah, this oud bashiri, this Iraqi oud, has this sort of designer bridge, and it gives a different sort of sound to the instrument.
Interesting. Do you find that helps or makes it harder to figure out the tension and
When I've tried one, I found it didn't really make much difference. It's more a
Okay.
difference to the sound, and I guess because, so it's for me, I found it quite easy to find the right position for the bridge, but I'm me, so
yeah, right?
it's pretty standard on an oud. It goes like in thirds, and the neck would be a third, so it's 2/3. Another third is where the bridge goes. But also because ouds are fretless, where the bridge is isn't really important. It's about the intonation of your left hand. So yeah.
Another question here for you.
Could an electric pickup be added to a traditional oud or lute? Yes, it can be. I've been asked to build lutes with pickups inside, and I'd be happy to do it again if requested to. Yeah.
Cool.
And in terms of a nude, yeah, I could do the same. I haven't been asked to, but I could do. Yeah.
I have an English question. What's a pickup?
It's the thing which on an electric instrument picks up the sound, and then
Okay.
I don't know the Portuguese word.
I don't know if I would know it in Portuguese, but that's okay.
So
It'll pick up. Oh,
Yeah.
it's an Acho pick up ish. No, it's an electric thing which transmits the sound from,
Okay.
I guess, vibrations into electronic. What's the word? Electronic signals instead of vibrations.
Okay. I'm not sure what that is for. Like, I'm looking at a Wikipedia now. Pickup as music technology. Blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at the explanation. I'm actually looking for a page in
Yeah,
Portuguese
that's the
to
one.
see if there's a word.
It's the switches, right?
So
On an
looking for what
electric
Portuguese
guitar.
is.
Okay, it's called
pickups are
captador
just,
in Portuguese. I wouldn't have known either, but it makes sense. Pickup, captador.
Captador,
It's like
okay.
captador is to capture. Like it captures the sound.
Makes sense.
makes sense.
Just about the Vulcan harp, by the way. The Vulcan harp most reminds me of an instrument from Ethiopia and Eritrea called the krar,
Called what? I'm sorry.
which is very. I'll show you 1 second. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, it's more of a standing instrument. Yeah, it's. I guess it is more of a harp, but then, and a harp, if I'm not mistaken, obviously there's no frets, so it's open strings. So I think
Yeah.
it's I guess kind of a combination where it's stand up like a harp, but then that has frets. So it's, I guess, this combination. It's obviously fictional, but I guess that was the design. It's just sort of a guitar / harp that you stand up on your knee or whatever, and almost play like in a cello kind of position as well.
There we go. This is a picture of a krar.
Isn't it amazing that people actually come up with something like this? It's totally fictional, that they mix up like
Yeah.
things from real life and from this and from that, and they just create something that, you know.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I know it's a lot of that stuff actually. Well, there's another PowerPoint. Musical instruments of the Star Trek.
Nice.
Right.
Super crar.
Yeah.
What is that now?
Ethiopian
That looks more like a harp, or not?
That's cool though. That's really interesting.
That's what it reminded me of. There we go. It's played like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
kind of like a Vulcan harp, right?
That
Yeah.
looks more like a harp than the Vulcan harp, to be honest.
Still though, if you twisted it around, give it a neck, it's similar. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's a fictional, so it's hard to put into reality. There is no Vulcan, unfortunately. So that we know of.
That we know of. Let me share something else. May I? Do you have anything else here, Joe?
No, it's fine. Go for it.
No, I just wanted to share now, since we're talking about this, I wanted to share this because I found this here about the Vulcan harp.
So Joe, how
Check
many?
this out.
Oh, we'll wait for this.
Can you guys read that?
No.
No, it's pretty
It says
small.
Vulcan here, Vulcan Music Academy.
Ah.
Wow.
And then it says Vulcan harp construction plans. Orchestral model musical instrument, an unusual harmonious and melodic accompaniment or solo instrument whose origin is lost in Vulcan antiquity. It combines the tonal qualities of a harp, lute, sitar, and to some extent the violin. The most famous models were made by Sarpek. Who's that?
A Vulcan dude from a long time ago.
Okay, it's not really somebody from Star Trek. It's just somebody
No.
that they invented previous. Okay. Some
Yeah.
5 Vulcan centuries ago, of which some 300 are known to still be in existence. This is so awesome. They have a full lore here. Other famous models were made by Sajek of Vulcan and Separ of Trillion. The tonal pattern is modal diatonic rather than chromatic and requires a high degree of skill to perform in this registration. While a skilled performer manipulates the strings with the fingers of the right hand, a plectrum pick may also be used. And then you have here the actual design. So you have fret bar, neck, strings, so just like what Joe showed us, but this is all fictional.
Well,
Material and everything.
I know what I want for Hanukkah.
Right? Yeah.
A Vulcan
That's
harp.
neat.
I'm saying let's get a Patreon going, and maybe I'll sit here at the end of the year and I'll do a concerto of the Vulcan harp.
Oh, fantastic.
Where's
I
the
love
bridge?
I wonder if
fictional
anybody has
Bridge.
actually built a Vulcan harp or plays it.
I've
I'm
seen people
sure,
build them.
Yeah.
I love fictional stuff that becomes real, like The Simpsons,
Right?
like they have like the Moe's restaurants in real life or whatever they call them.
Right?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, the beer.
yeah, or
Duff.
whatever. I don't know
Duff.
I forgot what they have,
Duff.
but they have stuff that came
Duff.
out in real life.
Yeah.
Oh,
Duff
the
stuff.
pop-ups.
yeah,
They
yeah.
had the Quickie Mart pop-ups. And
Yeah, the
stuff,
quickie marks. Yep.
I love that. Yeah.
I've spent enough time on Lutherie forums to have seen someone build one of those. Yeah,
Wow.
That's
it's a
great.
thing.
I want to see somebody play
They-
that now.
They're
I'm
my
super
hero.
curious.
Steve-O.
Joe,
I'm sure you can
Yeah,
find
Joe.
someone who's
I was just going to ask how many Middle Eastern rock bands are there out there playing the electric oud? I'm assuming at least one.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of bands which feature an electric oud. I don't know how many of them are rock bands, but I'm sure it exists. Yeah, why not?
Is there like a rock
fusion?
type music in Middle Easternness, or is it all kind of more of a classic
Middle Easternness.
Middle Easternness?
No, there's definitely rock music there.
Okay.
I guess Middle Easternness. Which country as well? Because we're talking.
I don't.
Nigeria?
Pick
Yeah,
one for me.
okay.
I don't know.
We'll go with Iran. How about that?
Iran. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, now here's a point. Is Iran part of the Middle East, or is it part of Central Asia, or is it part of? Because it's not strictly speaking Middle Eastern, right?
Yeah, it's true.
It's all of the above.
No, okay, good answer.
It's very relative.
Yeah.
I don't know who Roddenberry and Sir Terry Pratchett are, but the comment says Maguire 708 Julie says, I love how Trek is followed in the footsteps of Roddenberry and Sir Terry Pratchett to create the historical lore. Anybody knows who those people are?
Gene Roddenberry is the creator of Star Trek, and then Terry Pratchett was a fantasy fiction author from the UK.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, when
Very
life
cool.
mimics art as opposed to art mimicking life, it's always
Mhm.
fun.
It's supposed to go both ways, right? So there you go. I mean, I think it's supposed to go both ways.
Then the simple stuff like communicators becoming flip phones, go Motorola for that, that type of thing. Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry.
Mark and Steve-O are the Trekkies here. We're just along for the ride. Yeah, I can do that, but just because I hang out with you
Actually,
guys.
do you guys know the origin of that? It's actually a really cool origin. This is it's a story that Leonard Nimoy told, and I'll just interrupt I'll just make it very quick. But when he was a child, he went with his father to a synagogue to receive a blessing, and there's a specific blessing for children. And so what you have to do is you put on this prayer shawl, and the child is supposed to go under the shawl, and they're not supposed to really see what's going on. And so Leonard Nimoy, when he was a small child, he, of course, peeked at what they were doing. And the rabbi was giving a blessing doing this and saying the blessing in Hebrew. So it always kind of stuck in his mind. And then when it came time that they were going to make a symbol, because they had just written it in a script or something as gives a Vulcan salute. And the first thing he was like, "Yeah, I wonder what I should do," and then he thought back to his childhood, and this became "Live Long and
That is
Prosper."
so
it's actually
cool.
It is cool.
from a Jewish
So he
blessing.
came up with that.
Yep.
That is
Wow.
so cool. It's funny because I was listening to Stephen Hassan interviewing Spike earlier this morning, and then because I sent you guys the link, I don't know if you saw it. Spike Robbins, I want to say is her last name, who works with John Atack.
Robinson.
And then apparently she's a Trekkie, and then like I didn't know, and then Joe sent me she has a channel, and then I'm following her now. But yeah, and then the very beginning they say something about this, and then Steve Hassan says that this is a Jew symbol or something. He says, "Oh, this is from Judaism," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I just listened, and then now you're actually explaining that. That's very interesting.
That's right.
But that's sounds like an obscure thing. Like he wasn't supposed to see that. So is it something that you have seen before, that you have heard of before, or just in this context that he saw that?
It depends on the tradition, like because there's different types of doing it. Like at my synagogue, we do this a couple times a year, especially like on the high holidays. But really, you just put your hands up. Like all the kids will go to the front of the synagogue, and then they'll be they kind of make like this canopy, and then the kids go under there, and so you raise your hands like this. But then there are different traditions within like the Orthodox movement, which he was raised, where you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be, the child is literally supposed to be hidden from the blessing, I guess, for whatever reason. I don't know. But that was the idea, that he peeked and saw it, and it stuck with him. So
but my question is,
that's
like,
just one way.
But my question is more like, is it confirmed that this is it, or is it maybe somebody like that rabbi specifically did it like this for whatever reason? Like, that's just the way his hands naturally.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm curious about.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It just depends. Because I've seen it done like this, like where your hands are out like this. But I think specifically the rabbi at the time was doing this, which could be something that comes from a specific type of interpretation or a specific type of synagogue. Like it's all kind of a specific thing. So he did see the rabbi do this. Like he actually did see it. So that's.
But we're not sure if this is something that comes from other specific Jewish traditions, or if it was that rabbi that had that specific way of doing it.
I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the history of it. I'd have to ask around, but you're right. It could have just been something that rabbi was doing, or it could be something that is done.
Is it really a symbol?
Was done. Yeah, exactly. It could be a little complicated, but yeah, of course.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Steve-O, I've got something to show you.
Please.
Julie, there we go.
I'm faster than that.
Oh my gosh.
Heavy metal out. Wow.
And that top result, Naveed is someone I've previously learned from as well, so he's legit.
Okay.
If you want to check it out.
Send us the link here. We'll post it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heavy metal exists everywhere. Like it's one of those things where every country will have their own version, pretty much, especially any time where there's some kind of Western culture. But like, whatever, I don't know, go to Latvia, they have heavy metal bands, like
sure.
Wherever in Africa, they have heavy metal bands. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Should I keep sharing this? Because we're not playing this, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't play it.
I wouldn't play it. Yeah, just in case you get strikes.
Let me send you the link.
Yes, please.
I don't know if I put this up already. I thought about doing it, but I don't think I did. Julie also says, Terry went deep into historical lore to create a universe where the world is a disc. Many books.
I have not read any Terry Pratchett books, but I have friends that have read all of them, or at least many of them. And they enjoy it.
Okay, let me post this here. Wait.
Steve, when you moved that mic, it looked like David Miscavige was on like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Maybe we should make a roller coaster for him.
Ooh. Let's see if I can do a free
Height
fall.
requirement, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
a
would
little free fall there.
He
Yeah,
a specially designed one.
you have to be this short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The teacups at Disneyland, type of thing.
I have a complaint about Captain Poopy Pants. He's bigger
really?
than Little Clearwater Chad.
Oh, is he?
Is that because he's life-sized and Clearwater Chad, Little Clearwater Chad is not?
Must be the case.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Chad, do you play any musical instruments? Have you ever had an experience with playing music?
That's a good question. No, I never have. I never have played an instrument.
Which instrument would you maybe like to play if you had a chance, or if you?
I've always kind of wanted to
magically
play
learned?
I've always wanted to learn how to play the keyboard. I never have.
What about you,
I
Steve?
think, Chad, I think you should be playing the guitar. I think you've missed your
okay.
calling. Yeah, I think
For the guitar.
a guitar and an '80s cover band where you got a keyboard tie and a skinny tie, keyboard tie. I think I could see you doing that. I'm just saying.
I can see that too. Yeah, that
Yeah,
looks very Clearwater.
can.
That sounds very Clearwater Chatty.
Never know.
What
I
about
guess.
you, Steve?
Sorry,
Not
there,
listening.
lost my earpiece.
And I was asking, how about you?
Oh, so nothing really growing up. I was always more of a voice guy than
What a voice.
in high school. Well, in high school you kind of have that choice, right? Your choir or your band, and I was choir. I did early on for a few years play the saxophone. I'm not good at it, but I still have a sax here somewhere in the house. And when I had back surgery 5 years ago, I spent a lot of time after that just sitting, not doing anything. And I actually did teach myself. I have an acoustic guitar in the house, and I've kind of taught myself some basic strumming. But now that I have the finger issues with my little fingers, I haven't picked it up in probably at least a year now. So
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah.
What kind of music did you play, or what bands or songs or styles or?
Well, I was really just teaching myself chords and everything else, but there, I would always kind of go back to the bum 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 bum. The what was it? One from Metallica,
Okay.
and tried to play some folkier songs that were kind of like camp songs that we used to play. Things like One Tin Soldier. If you guys know the song One Tin Soldier.
I'm not sure.
Listen, children, to a story that was written long ago about a kingdom on a mountain and the valley far below. It's from an old 70s movie. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It doesn't matter, but stuff like that.
It rings a bell, but I can't place it. Like
was it Billy Jack? Was it The Legend of Billy Jack? I think maybe it may have been the cheesy 70s movie that the song came from. I think so. But yeah, so just I was trying to teach myself chords to some folk songs. But yeah, that's about as far. You're
Billy Jack.
You're kind of out of commission for 4 or 5 weeks, so you just kind of start teaching yourself to strum, and I kind of played after that, but nothing that I would ever sit in front of a group of folks and contribute, because I just wasn't solid enough. But yeah, those were really the instruments that I've kind of had experience with in my life.
All right. Hey, Joni, welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
Joey.
Let me see something here. I'm just gonna post another link here because Joe sent me another link here. I'm gonna say Joe says this one is good too. So check it out. Because I'm gonna have to do it later. Of course, can't do it now.
I did indeed.
There's the link. What about you, Mark? You were telling us earlier that you have some experience with guitar.
Yeah, I play a lot of instruments actually. Very one of the only, like, other than getting into like history stuff, like it seemed to be history kind of thing, like facts and whatever, and then instruments I do very well. And so when I was in the um, sixth grade, my elementary school, we either did orchestra or band. So orchestra were strings, band of course was you know, wind instruments and percussion. So I went into orchestra and I actually learned how to play, and I did very well. I learned how to play the tuba. So I was a tuba player straight from sixth grade until ninth grade. And yeah, and I was actually really, really good. In ninth grade, my orchestra class, we actually did a tour around the Midwest, and we went to Cincinnati, and I remember that pretty well. We went to Kings Island, which is I guess what's it like, an amusement park. We actually played there. We played in a bunch of high schools. We played in Michigan, Ohio. What other freaking state did we go to? Did we go to Illinois? Anyway, we did a lot of like high schools, and we won like first in a lot of stuff. And we played. I always remember the Andromeda Overture. We played that. We played the William Tell Overture. We played the theme song for Star Wars, the first one, the first big one, the fanfare that you see with the crawl. So we used to play all these kinds of really cool, you know, stuff. And then in the ninth grade, my music teacher was awful. I don't know if anyone has ever seen an awesome movie called Whiplash with J.K. Simmons. Uh, my music teacher was pretty much like that guy. He was just a maniac. And so I stopped, and then I got into orchestra, and then I started playing cello, and then from cello I moved to the viola, and I've been playing viola for a very long time. And then when I
What does
was, I
viola say?
guess, I'm sorry.
Did you see the video I sent you earlier? No.
No, I don't think I did. Sorry.
Two-set violin. They bully viola players for real.
Right, yeah.
And they have a funny
But
video
no.
that they say that they talk about all different instruments, and then when it's viola, it's like, what does viola say? And then it's like horrible noise.
Oh gosh. But yeah, I like
I'm
the viola,
sorry.
and I play the largest one, which is called a 16.5. It's a big viola. But then anyway, then when I was in my later high school, 16ish, 15, 16, I started playing guitar, six string. I learned how to play bass. And although I haven't played guitar for about 2 years, I still really want to buy one and play, because I still remember so many songs when I was a teenager, and when I was in my 20s. I basically learned how to play tons of songs from Nirvana, which, if you're learning how to play guitar, is not they're the easiest songs to play, but they're also really fun. And so the first song I ever learned how to play on guitar was Polly by Nirvana, which is only 5 chords. It's a very simple song. But yeah, lots and lots of that. So mostly punk rock, easy stuff, Sex Pistols stuff, Blink 182. It's all easy stuff. Some 41, etc. And so yeah, and I would really love to have a guitar so I can actually play here and post stuff, because yeah, I would really like doing that. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to afford a guitar. Guitars are more expensive. Even used ones are more expensive here in Europe than they are back home. So
Really?
it just happens to be that way. Yeah.
Oh boy. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Um,
But I do.
wanna
I love
hear-
it. I also during the pandemic, I was learning to play the flute just before I came. Just actually before I came here to Hungary. So I was learning how to play the flute, which was pretty nice. And then I was renting instruments, basically an instrument every month. So I was rented a viola, rented a cello, rented a violin. I rented a clarinet. just because there's nothing to do. So I thought I'll just learn how to play some instruments.
Sure.
Interesting.
Wow.
At least you had the
Yeah.
opportunity to rent the instrument.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive. Musical instruments.
Yeah,
are
to
very
buy
expensive.
is. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
like
sorry about
$20
that.
a month back then. Yeah.
That's my fault, right?
Yeah, but it's, everything is all your fault. Yeah, I don't play any. I have tried various different instruments throughout my life. I've played the piano for a while, like growing up. I've played the flute. I've played the not the flute. I've played the recorder. I've played the violin for a long time. I sang in choir, even though my voice is not like Steve-O's. I don't have a, that nice speaking or singing voice, but I
The
love
Steve-O,
singing.
sorry to interrupt, but the Steve-O voice is 1 in a million. But go ahead.
It's true. It is true.
Yep.
It is true.
So that
Thank
means
you,
that
guys.
there's that means that there's 7,000 or 70,000. 70,000. So like 1 in a million is not that rare. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm
Right.
not
There's
gonna do that.
70,000 of me out there. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So it's 1 in a billion. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right. So 7.6 of me or something.
See, that's
probably about right.
That's
Yeah.
very rare.
LRH would have said it was 1 in 75 trillion.
Wow.
They're
Me
gonna
and
go
Xenu.
Hubbard right now.
Yeah.
That's right. Me, Xenu, and Hubbard. That's us.
Right. Yeah, I've had my phases in life, my moments in which I really wanted to play. I really wanted to go back to studying music, and then I just don't stick to it. So I'm kind of like the frustrated musician, the one who has tried it all and didn't do anything. But I don't know if Joe's still there. I don't know where she went. I was actually asking everybody's, but I also wanted to know about her story, because we know she builds instruments, we know she plays.
Mhm.
But Joe, when you come back, you tell us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, again, it's different everywhere, but in most major cities, there'll be like a guitar center, or in Canada, the store is called Long and McQuaid. And the great thing about it is that you can rent instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the instruments, like a clarinet, a flute, or whatever, can be as cheap as $15 to $20 a month. And then you just buy a music stand for, on Amazon, I bought one for $15, and then I bought an introductory book, and that's how I just learned. And because I've been playing instruments since I was 12. Even picking up a flute was not too bad. Woodwinds are hard, like clarinet is really hard for me, but horns, strings, just
Because
pick
you
up a
have the
book.
experience from the tuba.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the flute. It's like, for me personally, it's like I don't have the discipline to do it myself. I'm the kind of person that needs to have a teacher and a class, and I have tried many different things that I have tried to get back into or learn, and by myself it's just a lot harder.
Yeah, it happens. It's like languages are like that too. It's a very similar discipline thing. Like if you want to really learn something, you sort of have to really, really do it for a very, very, very long time. And then sometimes life just takes over and it's hard, right?
I just don't have the intrinsic motivation. And Joe, what's your story?
Hello. About
How music?
Sorry,
how
I
did
was-
you get into it?
Oh, I've always been obsessed with music. I can't really pinpoint a time when it started. So, how did I get into music? I guess Are we
Came
talking
out
about
of the
still
womb
what
playing
instruments?
something. I'm sorry.
Are we talking still about which instruments people have played?
Instruments, interest in music, what you've done growing up, or how you started, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, so I played first of all violin. When I was very small, I learned violin, and then I was a bit older. I learned guitar, classical guitar, and I was playing classical guitar right through until I was. I never really stopped that, I guess, but I stopped having lessons of it, and then I caught the bug of kind of music from around the world, and that's where it all went wrong. And one of the first one of the first things I then started to try and play was the mandolin, and then that led me to el charango.
Wow,
Wow.
that's cool.
And
Got
then
a
I went
thick
through
neck.
basically a period of never really sticking with one instrument long enough to get really good at it, but just like and that's how this shit happened.
Nice.
And
Oh, but they're all closely related. It's not like you're playing the piano and a stringed instrument and like something, I don't know, the drums or something completely different.
oh no, always strings. Yeah, always strings for me.
Yeah, so it's not
And I've
that.
completely forgotten how to use a bow as well, so not even bow strings anymore.
Mhm.
But
You've
yeah,
probably
then during
completely forgotten.
Go
Just
on.
so you know, you probably have not completely forgot. Just so you know, during the pandemic, I was
Oh.
living with my dad and my uncle. It's a whole story, a whole setup. And my uncle had some old violins from kitty violins and stuff. And I took a bow, and my hand naturally knew how to hold it. I don't have one. I hadn't touched a bow in
Yeah.
years. My hand naturally knew how to
Yeah.
hold it. It was ridiculous. Yeah, you don't
Wow.
I
forget.
guess, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you get back into it, you'll
Ooh, don't touch the
it'll come
hairs.
back
Don't
to you.
touch the hairs.
Should we find
The
out if I
hangry-
can still remember?
Yeah,
Sure.
try it. Try it.
Do it. Do it.
I guess let
Sophia
me
said-
finish
One
the
of
story
us.
first.
Yes,
One
just
of us.
just before you continue, Sophia says it's the mausoleum of string instruments.
Which one is the mausoleum of string instruments?
I think it's your wall there.
Your wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. The mausoleum of failed attempts at learning different instruments. But yeah, then during the time that I guess Mark's already said it, during the pandemic, I decided to also spend more time learning an instrument more seriously. And since then, I've been playing, basically practicing every day. And I chose the oud, and because it inspired me at the time, and I haven't lost that inspiration yet. So that's now my primary instrument and has been ever since. And so yeah, I guess also because I was building them, so it made sense.
And when did you get into building instruments? And when and how?
So I first started building instruments around 2006, 2007 sort of time. And then I built a lot of flat-backed instruments. And then eventually I figured out how to do the bowl backs. And then in 2017, I started my business and went full-time with it. So
Wow.
that's the answer.
Nice.
Not a violin, but it will do. I apologize in advance for every single dog in the neighborhood, for all of you going off. Yeah, that's a no, isn't it? Yeah, I won't talk to you anymore. That's a no. Sorry, Julian, that's a no.
It had potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on its way. I wouldn't say you'd forgotten.
So I before I came back, I felt like my voice was dying and I'd have to wrap up soon. I'm feeling maybe coming back. I don't know, but I probably shouldn't push it too much since I am ill. But was there any other questions or anything else that anybody wants to talk about before?
I don't know what was
I ha-
starred.
I am back.
Oi, tudo bem?
Tudo bem, você?
Tudo bem.
I had one. I heard you trying to play there.
Geiger's brother plays bagpipes.
Oh no,
Oh.
not bagpipes. Oh no.
Wow.
There's
That always reminds me of Friends. If you guys have seen Friends, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't,
So
you don't know
there's
what I'm talking about.
There's I did a series of videos about museum visits, which is also something I did during the pandemic because people obviously couldn't visit museums at the time, and I got lots of pictures from my research. So I did a series. It's called Instrumental Ramblings. It's on my channel if you want to see it. And in one of them, there is a thing full of bagpipes. And so I kind of skip over those and go, yeah, we don't talk about bagpipes here. So
Beck has a question. Where to start in learning the guitar or other strings?
look up online for a teacher. Might be a good thing. Or I guess first of all, get an instrument and see which instrument really suits you, which instrument you want to play, and which one. Or perhaps better yet, go to a music shop and try them, so you don't wasting money. But
If you have
Yeah.
the option of renting, like Mark does, maybe that's a possibility too. You
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
it's expensive to invest in an instrument and then not stick with
Yeah.
it.
Right. I've
It's a
heard
really
that
good option.
I've heard that it's easier to learn the guitar, with an electric guitar as opposed to an acoustic. And
Yeah.
so I've never played an electric guitar, so I don't know that. But
Me neither.
that may be
It depends
that
on your
may
hands.
true. Yeah, that may be a
Yeah.
place to
I have small hands and I played the guitar. It's a struggle.
Acoustic can be tough. Like
It's a
for
struggle.
myself, I know
Yeah.
you stretch.
Right.
My hands are not. I mean, they're big because I'm a big
It's
guy.
doable.
But acoustic, I find it hurts my hands more. Although it's still nice, it's still fun. You can find guitars that have smaller necks. You can find bigger necks
Yeah.
and bigger frets. Like it really depends on the actual guitar. But generally speaking, I find it's the electric guitars can be. It just depends on what you want. Strings are also heavier, I think, on an acoustic, so we have to put that into it as well. So
My dad was
it's
a
whatever you like.
classical musician, so he would never let me learn the electric guitar before learning the acoustic guitar. You know, or actually before learning classical acoustic guitar. You know, so I actually had to
Wow.
learn. You know, like so it's a struggle, but
Oh
it's
my God.
doable. You know, like you just stretch. Of course, it's not going to be as easier for somebody who has bigger hands. You know.
So I'm going to be the odd one out here and say that if you want to learn guitar, you should learn classical guitar because the strings are nylon, so they'll be easier on your hands.
Oh.
The neck is wider, so again, if you've got picking out the individual notes will be easier. If you're just going to play chords, this might not be an issue, of course. But yeah, softer strings, more available strings, more wider neck, all these sorts of things, in my opinion, make classical guitar better for a learner. But I've never played electric guitar either, so I'm biased.
She says maybe I'll start with the keyboard. I'd say start with the piano or keyboard because that's how I totally my biased opinion here, but I just think the piano is much easier to learn, even to learn music. If you want to learn how to read music, I think it's just easier to learn in the piano. But it's just my biased opinion. And then you can always branch out.
Thank you for the super sticker, Beck.
Thanks, Beck.
Thank you.
We have a couple starred comments and questions here, but I have one here from Joe's channel, from Sophia. Lost
yes,
Mark again.
I was just reading that as well.
He's coming
wanna
back.
read
There he is.
Mahmoud Dochegal had gesagt, Joe, have you ever listened to the early work of a band called Versenguld? If not, you should check them out. No, I haven't heard of them. Sorry, and I will check them out. Thank you for the recommendation. And the super chat reminds me, I think I'm finally at the point where I can get those, but I'm not sure. So, anyway.
By the way, speaking of which, Mark and I are in need of subscribers.
Yes.
I'm
at
not
59.
I'm not in a rush to get monetized. The only thing I'd like to have 1,000 subscribers, to be honest, is because I can redirect my streams to other people's streams, and I think that'd be cool. When I learned that's only with 1,000 subscribers, I'm like, what? Why? Like the other day I was streaming, I wanted to redirect to Chad's, and then I wanted to redirect to Steven's, and I couldn't. you know.
Oh,
But Mark has it, and the only thing I've been doing is I've been studying mainly. I've been studying on camera, but Mark already has a lot of good content, so you guys should definitely check it out. And this actually goes with this comment here, with this question here. Is everyone's channel listed in the chat? It is listed in the description of the video. I don't know about Joe's channel, because Joe, yeah, I don't think it's in Joe's descriptions, but I'll show them all now. I don't know about Mark's.
It's in my
channel.
ticker at the bottom
Yeah, okay.
of my channel.
All right. Cool.
Also, there it is in the comments as well, if you want to put it on screen.
The comments, okay. So in Chad, Stevo, and my channel, they're all in the description. I'm not sure if Mark is using the same
mine's in there as
description.
well.
If he is, it's also there. So it's also there.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna pull them all up here. Clearwater Chad. Chad, say hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, there you are. So you can find Chad on YouTube at Clearwater Chad 9037.
90210.
Stevo, say hello.
Hi. Hi.
At Denver Stevo. Yeah, very, very difficult to find. Now, Joe, I have 2 channels here for Joe. You have at Joe Dusepo, which is where you're going to find her amazing music and artistry and instrument making and these lives and all of that. And the podcast Under the Influence, which is at _the influence. Then Mark, say hello.
Hey, so I'm at 59 subscribers. I'm almost at 90 watch hours, so I'd like to get that up. And on Monday at 7 p.m. my time, which I know is 6 p.m. in the UK, and then whatever it is for that, I think that's noon or whatever. Or
1 p.m. Clearwater time.
Coast, right? I'm going to be on with Apostate Alex for the second time. I was on his, I guess, this year earlier, and I'm going to be on that, and I'm going to be doing some more promoting, because I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page. So we're going to be doing a little promoting of that. We're going to promote our channel here, and I'm hoping to get a lot more traffic to all of us. But please come by 7 p.m. my time, and then again, I guess that's 1 p.m. right, Steve? 1 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m., 6 p.m. UK, and then that's 9 p.m. Pacific, etc. So that'll be on Monday. So this Monday, so just in a couple days. So just make a note of that, and I hope to see as many people there as possible. So thank you guys so much.
And if it gets too confusing, you can always just go to Mark's channel or go to Apostate Alex's channel. Watch it from Mark's channel. Watch it from both channels. But
I'll be reposting it.
Just because Mark needs the watch hours a little bit more than Alex does now, but watch from both channels. Subscribe to Apostate Alex. But
watch
just
from Mark's.
see if you can watch from Mark's, but see once the event is posted, see what time it says there, because it's always going to be your local time.
Yeah, exactly. I
That's
know.
the easiest.
I am not a mathematician, so to speak. So I only know what my time is. I forget everyone else's, but I apologize. But it's 7 p.m. my time, so that's like one hour ahead of the UK.
We should all speak Clearwater time, though. That makes life easier.
It's true. Yeah, Universal Clearwater chat time.
Universal Clearwater chat time. And I am at Scientheologist. I even removed the from my name to make it easier. So the initial idea was for me to discuss the theology of Scientology, or some of the lore, some of the Xenu stories and whatnot. But I have
Xenu the creator.
Xenu's not the creator. We're
Xenu's
gonna have
the creator.
We're gonna have the discussion someday.
He's not the creator. He's not the
Xenu's
creator.
Thank you,
creator.
Mark. We're gonna have the
He's
debate
not the
someday. He's
creator.
not the creator.
Xenu's the creator.
He's not the creator.
That's how this started, by the way. Was Steve was saying Xenu's the creator? I mean, chat. He's not the creator. I'm like,
Thetans are
yo,
the creator.
I gotta talk about this. I'm gonna start my own channel to talk about this. And then
Hey, I'm an X, okay? I'm an X.
Yeah, you see.
If Xenu hadn't brought the
my finger.
Thetans, the Thetans wouldn't be there to create. Therefore, Xenu's the creator.
He's not the
Xenu's
creator.
not the creator.
Xenu's the creator.
Okay.
He's
but
not
I
the
have
creator.
been. If you
Who cares? It's all bollocks.
I do. I think it's fun. It's just
Xenu
like
is
Star
fact.
Trek.
Xenu is
But then it's
fact.
just like saying Star Trek is all, BS. It's like,
Well, I don't know about that.
see, it's the same thing. This is an old comment from Matt Caustic Comments when Steve was asking when we're gonna free Xenu. Was that Steve? Was that what you said that about free Xenu project? No, you said it's a project.
Oh, I just said that freeing Xenu is a project. Yeah.
Yeah, who said? Was it Mark? Who said they're never freeing Xenu?
Yeah, I'm just wondering
Okay.
when the project is going to end and Xenu will actually be free, because that's the point.
Matt
I have
has
a
an
very
answer for you.
Okay, which is
We'll free Xenu when Steve's membership reaches St.
So
Hills.
that means
that.
So let me just say what St. Hills Dies is. You're going to have at least 200 staff members. You're going to have to bringing in enough money to pay a staff of at least 200 of those staff members. Plus, you're going to have a certain amount of what are called well-done auditing hours, bodies in the shop, gross income. I could go on all day, but let's just say if you get to St. Hills Dice, Steve-O, which I think that you can do, then that will be the conclusion of the project, and that's what I'm about. I'm about concluding the project.
I would agree. I think so. Although, if you've ever seen the opening to the intro to Xenu Nation, the Xenu may actually be free.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
Just saying.
That is true.
Yeah.
If you guys have not seen it, you gotta check out Denver Steve's Xenu Nation show
tonight at 9:30 Clearwater time.
There you go, 9:30 Clearwater time. See, it's easier.
Have I even sent an invite to it? God, I don't even know if I've sent the.
I don't think I've seen one on my side, but I could
might not have yet, which means I'll have to do one after. No, yeah, I have to do it when we're done here.
All right, so we have Xenu Nation tonight. Guys should check it out.
I was wondering what was on later.
Opening.
Yeah, Xenu Nation will be on tonight at 9:30 Eastern.
And Xenu might or might not be free and dancing.
Right. And smoking a big old joint.
I was watching some Mark Bunker stuff from like 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, good
and
stuff.
And he had a show. I know. He had a show called, he called this program Xenu TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was, I didn't even realize that. That was cool.
Xenu TV is now markbunker.com or .net or whatever Mark Bunker's channel is, but it's the same channel. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love watching the old stuff. They were of course, harassing people.
If I can recommend a video that helped me, when I left in 2008, that summer, I watched a video on Mark Bunker's channel called the OT Panel with Tori Christman and two other former OT7s. I forgot their names now of the former OT7s, but one of which was Tori Christman. And I guess it's like an hour or two video, and they were just talking about how much OT7 sucks and how it's just awful. And it really helped me unravel, that kind of thing. Like there just isn't an end goal. It's just an OT7 is just, I'm sure you guys have heard some of the stuff. It is awful what people on OT7 have to go through. So if you're scrolling through Xenu TV and you find that OT panel, I would highly recommend it.
I'll look it up. I just wanted to say, speak of the devil, and
oh gosh, yeah,
devil is right,
Alex. Ooh, I could do it. When is it, Alex? When is it? It's October something. Oh, I could do it. There are direct flights from
November 3rd and 4th.
Oh.
Yeah. Right, that's the weekend.
I'll have my people call your people. I'll have my butler call your butler, okay, Alex? And we'll set it up. I may have to do the whole...
about you. Okay.
Yeah, Alex, we were just saying that, I'm going to be popping onto your channel.
Right.
Okay.
Of course,
the 5th... month later than usual.
Of course, the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day.
Guy Fawkes Day.
Yep.
Always remember. Was it always remember the 5th of November? Yeah.
Or remember the 5th of November, something.
Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. I see no reason why the 5th of November should ever be forgot. I think that's how it goes.
Wow.
I just know remember the 5th of November.
All I remember about that is that it was like, wasn't it like a Catholic takeover of the monarchy or something? Wasn't that the whole point of that rebellion?
Yeah, it was attempted, yeah.
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 I don't know.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Yeah.
The Amidala. What's her name?
Natalie Portman
Oh,
was in
yeah.
V for
Natalie
Vendetta,
Portman,
which is a
yes.
great movie.
It
Fantastic
was.
movie, V for Vendetta.
Yes.
Absolutely. You have what's his name there? Stephen Fry. And Ian Holm
Stephen
and some
Fry?
wonderful British actors in that
Yes.
amazing movie. And of course, the Matrix dude. What's that guy's name? Agent
Yeah,
Smith.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah,
Oh,
and
Hugo.
you don't ever see his
Yeah.
face. You don't see his face. It's a great movie. You love that
He's
movie.
amazing.
That's right.
I like
Yeah, it's
this.
quite
Alex
amazing.
says, "Let's make this. This is a 5th of November. They will forever
Yeah.
remember." Protesta. I like that.
Yes, I'll have my people call your people, Alex, because it could happen. It would be nice if it could happen. I just don't know, but it could. So that would be cool, I think. And then also England, although first and last time I was in England, I didn't like it. A little bit wary. London was not my tempo. It was just not
You
my
have
tempo. But I did like the country. I did like the countryside.
But have a very good reason to be there, so it's gonna be enjoyable
Yeah.
because of the.
Well, we'll
of
probably
the-
go down to St. Hill, right? We probably go down to East Grinstead. And when I was buying my ticket, I remember this as a Victoria Station, and I said, "I'd like a ticket to East Grinstead, please." And then the person said, "Grinstead." Okay.
Wow, they actually corrected
Yeah.
the person.
No. He corrected me.
Oh, okay.
As I said, East Grinstead. He goes, "No."
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Grinstead."
Yeah, they should have just let it slide.
Yeah, okay, cool. He probably thought I was American. No offense to my American friends out there, but you know.
You are American.
I would have repeated
True.
it
North
wrong one more
American.
time.
I am North American. Yeah, it's true.
You are American. Watch that video. The videos that I sent you guys.
Yeah, I know.
about
I
the-
saw it. Yeah, no, it is good. I remember Vespucci. Yeah, I learned about him. Yes, we're
It was
protesting
very
at St. Hill.
Those guys are funny.
I hope this is just the beginning of the protests.
Yeah.
It's kind of just the middle of the protests. They've been going. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
not necessarily in St. Hill, but
Yeah.
you know, we have the ones in Los Angeles every month now.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Need more in Clearwater though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Clearwater
true.
Texas spearhead that.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
wait.
agree.
I mean Clearwater, Florida. Sorry. I'm just joking, but yeah.
We could. We could do the next time I'm back home. I'll drive down to Buffalo and just Chad and I will pick it outside the Buffalo org, which like nobody's there anyway, but we'll do it.
I know, no one is there.
Right.
And then we'll go to Buffalo Wild Wings and
Yep, I know, that'd be great. We
and
should.
then we'll go take a stroll. We'll take a stroll around the Walda Galleria and yeah.
Yep. That'd be great.
Oh my God,
Why would you go to Buffalo Wild Wings in Buffalo? I would go to a less Cheney place.
Yeah. Although there is a Sonic in Buffalo that I enjoy. Just a random thing. I'm sorry.
That's all
Sorry,
right.
you
Sonic.
guys. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
It is.
it's one of my
Empty cup.
favorite restaurants. Yeah.
It's great. I don't typically eat the food there, but man, those happy hour drink runs, you know, you get your whatever for half price. Yeah. Yeah.
Guys,
Chasing
I
waterfalls,
think
yeah.
Joe has been wanting to leave for like 30 minutes. I think. we should-
No worries. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Sorry, Joe.
'cause,
No worries. No worries.
But I
About that
thank
time
you so
anyway.
much, Joe, for your talk and for all your curiosities and your.
It was great.
Yeah,
Great
thank you, Joe. Your presentation. was-
Thank you. I
was
hope
excellent.
you. Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting and informative for everyone. I would love to stick with you a bit longer, but I'm totally flagging because I'm
think
ill
it's-
and yeah,
I
not
think it's a
really.
good
Yeah.
So,
Thank you,
for us
Joe. Thank
to-
you so much.
to wrap up.
but by all means, carry on without me if you'd like to. It's
I'm about
I won't
ready
be
for a cup
offended.
of coffee. I don't know about you guys, but if you guys
Okay.
want to stick around longer, I can too. I just wanted to play Joe to play Joe playing one more time, but it
Let's
can be
do
after
it.
you go. Do you guys want to stick around longer, or do you want to wrap up, or what do you
No,
wanna
this is a good time. Joe's the
Yeah.
I'm
key
not.
speaker this time. So let's
right.
wrap
It's
it
been
up.
2 hours.
Yeah, but I'm not
I
the
think,
admin,
yeah.
so
I'm about ready to wrap up too.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us.
Thanks,
you
everyone.
guys.
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Take
Have a
care,
great
Stay
night.
nerdy.
I'm gonna play the intro as an
Yeah.
outro.
Yeah, don't leave. Play the Don't leave
Yeah,
everybody. Watch Joe play.
Okay.